Hello survivors, welcome to another video. In this video we're going to be looking at Bruce's story, which is a roadmap that is up currently. It's up for a couple more days, and I think a lot of feedback from this is actually being quite good, mainly because of the rewards. The rewards are really good. As you can see, the main reward for completing the hard stage is a watch or a radio. This is the first time that epic gear has been in a roadmap, I believe, at least since Ascendance. I think within the Ascendance promo there could have been a roadmap with it, but I can't really remember. The first half of it just had basic gear, like you know, for maxed out 5 stars, tier 4 5 stars. It also gave Ascendance medals. I think it was around 25, 30k or something like that. But Act 2 gives, as you can see, weapon tripods. Each stage gives either weapons, tripods, or silver Ascendance medals. And I think it starts off with silver Ascendance medals, and then it just alternates. And I think you get 1 item of each piece of epic gear. So you get a weapon tripod, gloves, sheath, and the target dummy. So you get 1 of each if you complete the entire thing. And I think in this one you get slightly more Ascendance medals. But yeah, the main thing is the end crate in terms of the reward. Now the stages are very hard for a lot of people. If you've got a full 6-star team, you can get through them. It isn't too much of a problem. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to test run it and see how easy it would be to do with a slightly worse team than normal. So the team I'm going to use is going to be majority of 5 stars. I am going to use 1 6-star, and the 6-star I'm going to use is Ezekiel. The only reason I'm going to use Ezekiel is because I do not have a melee shield. Not shield, sorry, a melee guardian shield. As you can see, the specialist ability for Ezekiel is Guardian. That's literally the only reason I'm taking him in there, is Guardian Shield. So if you don't have Ezekiel, try and get a Guardian Shield in here. There are old ones like 4-star Jesus, who was a tough character. Try and make them all the same as well, so all ranged or all melee, just so you can get something from your leader skill. If you have, I think it is 5-star Darlene. I have got 5-star Darlene, but she's only tier 2, so she's not going to last very long in that situation. But this is the sort of team I'm going to use. I'm going to explain certain aspects of it as we go, but the reason I'm going to use this leader is because, from what I understand, every single stage that you do on this roadmap, every single character has a tier 3 specialist skill, but they're all on defense skills, and this is just to promote Bruce and show how strong he is, which is cool, which is fine. But none of them have on attack specialist skills. So what we're going to do is, if we need to, we can just defend and to be attacked to get our rush up. And with Dwight as a leader, he's going to be able to give people a very large bonus to AP when taking damage. And it also gives everyone 30% defense, which is a nice little bonus. I think another character that gives exactly the same leader skill is Old School Morgan. Exactly the same leader skill, 30% defense and a very large bonus to AP when taking damage. He'd be quite useful as well. The reason I'm going for Davey is to reduce their damage, and Rick and Ezekiel are, well, Rick's there for mainly just heal and a bit of damage, but Ezekiel is there for buffing my characters, giving extra defense, extra attack as well. Now, other characters that'll be really useful if you've got a ranged team. I could try and do this with a ranged team as well, see how that goes. I have got a 4-star Jesus, so I could use Jesus instead. Trip would be pretty good, and you just basically want to defend with him almost all the time, unless the character has been disarmed to get his rush up. And this is because he can recover all your team from things like impair, stun, and you're going to get stunned and impaired quite a lot. Now, weapons will be quite important, but I'm going to go mainly with stat weapons like this, just so that my characters have huge amounts of stat. Basically, it's just as simple as that. I have got a couple of stun weapons, so I'm going to use some of those. Those will be quite useful if you've got some stun weapons. Now, one of the problems that you've got on this map as well is that and try and get as much crit as possible if you are taking a Guardian Shield. One of the problems you've got is the ally in Bruce. One of the main things about this ally is his specialist skill is obviously the most important thing. Now it says, in the second part, it says, when this character performs a critical attack on a human enemy, that enemy will be disarmed for 2 turns. That's probably the most powerful part of his... Actually, I don't know. I don't know if that's the most powerful part, but it is a very powerful part. Like, there are 2 parts to this. That alone would be really, really strong. The fact that he can't be affected is probably the most powerful part. But this second part is almost like when he crits, which is easier to do than stun, if you just have crit chance on your weapon. It's basically like stunning the character. They can do attacks still, but when you stun a human character when they've got stun on defense or absolute defense, their specialist skill actually gets nullified. And that's what disarming does. It disarms them and their specialist skill gets nullified. Now it doesn't change things like plus HP, it doesn't change things like plus attack or plus defense. It just removes conditional effects granted by their weapons, i.e. on defense. You know, if you attack them and you can get affected by something because you're attacking them, i.e. stun on defense, absolute defense, impair on defense, AP down, then those are nullified. Okay, now because he's got no weapon, we're going to need to take some decent items. I'm going to take these 2 items here, and these 2 items are, it deals a little bit of damage, which is cool, but it also does minus 50% defense and minus 50% attack. Now, we're not going to use the defense one too early. We're going to use the attack one quite a lot. And I might actually double up on the attack one. You can take smelling salts, or you can take a revive character if you want to take a revive character. And you can take some like muscle boosters or stamina boosters to get some defense early on until your buffer kicks in. Or you can take some like hollow point rounds and some grindstones to do the same. To just until your buffer kicks in. But I'm going to double up probably and take minus attack. This is just because I do not want them doing too much damage, and this is really, really late stage. Now, another item you could take are these, which is nitric oxide and sharpshooter. And the reason these are going to be useful, I am going to actually take nitric oxide, is because you can give all melee characters 20 crit, which is probably one of the only sources you can get of crit until your Zeke, until my Zeke goes off, or until you have a crit buff that goes off to actually give Bruce his boost to disarm. The second he disarms someone, all your characters can lay in and have no problems. But we're going to see how this goes. I've got no idea. I haven't really tested it. This is the last stage. I'll just back out again so you can see it is the last stage on the hard story. If I could complete this, I can, and depending on how like straightforward it is, it's safe to say I could probably complete them all, because it does get harder and harder and harder. We'll check out the stats. Oh, I nearly went to the wrong team. We'll check out the stats on the enemy as we go along as well. And the team I'm taking is this one. So let's go. So as you can see, they're all bosses. Now every single one of these characters has the same weapon and pair the enemy when defending. They also have plus HP on their weapon, which I think is the first time we've had stat weapons on. Oh no, we have it on SR as well. But we don't normally have so many bosses, of course. I think you get sometimes 3. I think you sometimes get 3 in SR. Like the triple rods and triple Tyrese and stuff like that. Now looking at the stats of these characters, they're all around the same, if not identical, slightly different. But like 2,400 HP almost, a lot of damage, and not much defense. The defense is not too great, but the HP is huge. You're going to have to do a lot of damage, and this is where you're going to just kick in with the buffs. So we're going to kick it off with minus 50% attack. So instantly their attack's going to be debuffed. It won't show, I don't think. No, it doesn't show. But so that 2,100 goes down to, you know, what, 1,000 and whatever, 90, 1,090. And we're also going to use crit. Now I've got to survive early. That's the most important thing. I've got to survive early. I've got to get. The second I've got my Zeke's buff off, I'm instantly in a better place, basically. So I disarmed him straight away. I disarmed him. So now I cannot get impaired when I attack, which is really, really useful. And basically, it's going to come down to how this goes. I get a couple of shields off. There we go. I'm not actually taking that much damage. So I'm going to try and disarm someone else. Nice. We disarm someone else as well. Now I have stunned this character, so I don't have to attack them. I'm just going to... Okay, stun someone else as well. And now I start getting my rushes up. And now I'm going to be much safer. Second Zeke's rush goes off. Everyone's got an extra what? I think is this 50-60? Oh no, 60-60. Okay. 60% attack, 60% defense. I'm going to start doing quite a lot of damage. I'm going to use his rush anyway, just because. And as you can see, this is with them having full defense. Now you can keep track of rushes. It does look like their rushes are quite slow, fortunately. I'm going to try and disarm again. Let me try and stun somebody, and this is where the impairs come in. The biggest problem with this team is I do not have any anti-impair characters or anti-stun, so you've got to kind of ride the hits, as it were, which is not good. The only person I'd say you probably do not want to get impaired at all is your buffer, because they can keep you alive, especially if you've got Ezekiel. It can be really useful. So I'm gonna double attack, see if I can get a crit on either of these, and I do not. Okay, now. Okay, I one-shot them. Damn. Now if I stun, okay, now again, if you've got stun on attack weapons, now this person's basically disarmed. So it's exactly the same situation, and I'm gonna just do exactly what I did before. But in this time, I'm only gonna do the line because I don't need to waste the entire team. And the shields are just popping now. So this isn't too hard, and this is with a 5-star team. This is just to show that it is possible. There we go, disarmed again. I should have used Oxide. Oh no, he's actually got has he got a buff? He had a buff there. Does he buff himself? He does, 50%. So when his rush goes off, he gets 50% crit. That's useful to know. I'm gonna rush with the. No, I'm gonna just get up some of these ARs. And I'll rush with Zeke probably, just to get his crit up. And try and, yes, there we go. So now the next one, and I'm hoping the next one's green, because if I've got lots of buffs against green, that's really useful. Okay, it's not a big deal. Not a big deal. This time I'm going to do minus 50% defense on everybody, because I'm going to do a lot of rushes. I'm going to do this rush, this one. Okay, this is looking good. I might get impaired here, I need to be careful. I'm actually going to defend, come on, defend. I'm doing it the wrong way, I was doing active skill. The main reason I did that is oh no, it's absolute defense. Okay, that was my bad. I thought, I had in my mind it was green. We're going to get against absolute defense again. So this isn't too much of a problem. Absolute defense is probably the nicest one to come up against. Sure, you don't do any damage, but you don't take any damage. There's no like real big downside. You know, you're not impaired for 3 turns. You're not stunned. None of this dodginess. Let's try and get a shield up. Nope. They are starting to do a little bit more damage now, and I didn't pop the lower damage, so that was maybe my bad. I think I will try and ride it out. Okay, that's minus 50% attack and defense. I forgot about that Carson. He's badass, isn't he? 57. Let's have a little look. I'll just go minus attack. Try and get a crit. Did I get a stun? I didn't get anything, I don't think. I need to get a stun here. Please. Yes. Just going to try and get up the rushes for the next one. Okay, I'm going to pop his rush. So I am just commentating on everything I'm doing, even though you can see it. Okay, now reds will be one of the harder ones, so it's good to come up against reds. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna do I'd say reds and greens. You want to do what I just did, double of those, just because reds and greens. It really depends on your team. If you are taking in a team of blues, maybe you want to do that against yellows. Basically, anyone that can do trait damage against you, you want to pop those. And also, but I think reds are probably the strongest, just because they've got easily the worst on defense ability. I'm gonna also pop. Actually, I'm not. I'm gonna do Zeke's rush, so we'll see a lot of crits. There we go. And I'll do Ezekiel follow up. Now, hopefully, I don't get stunned, but okay, I did get stunned, but I stunned as well. Let's try and get a disarm in. There we go. So it's straightforward. You're doing a lot of damage once you do the debuffs in. I mean, that 1500 defense turns into 750, which is a lot of damage that's going to go through that Kevlar, basically. And I'm pretty sure you could probably mix in some utility 4-stars as long as they've got a reasonable amount of HP. A HP leader would be good if you had I think the Sophia that I came up against a couple of stages ago, a couple of waves ago, sorry, she gives 45% HP, so she can be pretty useful. I'm just gonna burst everything. I've got the buff from Zeke, should be good. We have got I'm gonna just buff again, just for the sake of it. And I think we're good, because Davy does minus 60% damage. If you've got Red Rosita, I think she does the same. So this video is just to show that you can do the hard stages without having like some supreme 6-star team. It is doable. I think if you were to take a full 6-star team that were at, I think what tier would it be? Tier 1 maxed out, I think you'd be fine as long as their rushes were reasonably good, in a good state. And that's the point where you actually need the radios and stuff, I think. Let me just double check this. I have a couple of characters on tier 2. Actually, it's the next stage, so maxed out tier 2, you're going to be absolutely fine. Because I've got a couple of characters that are in this position, and I think you'll be absolutely fine. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for tuning in, guys, and hopefully that helps you if you were struggling. I would assume most of you have got a lot of 6 stars and you're fine, but some of you may not, and you want to get this done. It is possible. So if just a quick rundown, try and take characters that have a bit of utility. You only realistically need 1 or 2 damage dealers. As long as you've got the defense down, like items, and you get some crit on, like you've got someone with a crit buff, like if you've got this Ezekiel or someone like that, that would give crit to Bruce. You'll be able to disarm characters, and you'll be able to get through their shields or their stun on defense, their absolute defense, that sort of thing. So yep, that's the end of this video, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in, guys, and as always, keep on surviving. You gotta keep on surviving. Goodbye.